Welcome back everybody. What a beautiful cloudless day today. Just complete blue sky. The sun's got a bit of a bite to it. It's only about 21 degrees, but yeah, it has a very strong bite to it down here. So I shall don on my hat and yeah, just going to start harvesting the hungry bin. I've had it sitting out here for a little bit already this morning, and just so the worms will move down, so hopefully I can just scoop off a lot of the stuff from the top. And yeah, so whatever I can't separate with the worms and the compost, I'll just make worm tea out of it. So I'll put it through a sifter, run some rainwater through it, and all the worms will get captured in the sifter. Okay, so if you want to come along and watch me harvest the hungry bin, I won't bore you too much with it because I do have other videos out of it. Yeah, stick around. So I'll just put on my dorky hat, my glasses. Hopefully the wind doesn't blow my hat off. I'm sure I can get another much more flattering hat, but hey, let's keep the sun off. And with the wind out there as well, hopefully it doesn't get too blowy. So okay, let's go. Then I'll just pop the worms just straight back in there. So it sifts out quite a number of worms. You will also get the worms that might just come back in here, but you're never going to get them all out, so I don't worry too much if there is some worms in there, because I know they just go into the garden beds anyway. So yeah, so I've come across this product. It's called Nature's Botanical, and it's rosemary and cedarwood. It's an ointment, and they actually use this on horses to keep the flies away from their eyes. I've used it on my face and it's great. It does keep the flies off your face, but I just want the marsh flies to leave me alone. So I'm just going to dot that around my ankles and my lower legs, and hopefully it keeps them away. Alright, I'll just go ahead and start sifting, and I'll catch you in a bit. I mean, I could tip all the compost out onto the table here and just let the sunlight do its work. I'll just go through and just sift a bit by hand first, and still feeling a little bit quite a little bit damp to go through the sifter here. So if I just leave it out in the sun a little bit more, it will dry it out a little bit, so it will make it easier to sift through. And also the worms will move down if it's piled up, and they'll move down the bottom, and then I can just sort of start scooping off the top. I don't want to sort of take everything out of there, separating everything, because they'll still need some bedding, and they like to sort of be familiar with what they were already in. So what I'll do here is I'll take off the lower tray and see what castings we got in there. It can be a little bit heavy for some people because you've got to crouch right down. So it's got two clips here, one on either side. Oh, that didn't work out. Good thing I got the tarp there. So it's a nice tray there of, that's looking really nice. Still worms in there. There might be quite a lot of worms down the bottom, so I'm going to pull that one out and set it in the sunlight for a bit. Up on the table there. For this, to pick up this big piece here. So this is looking really rich, full of microbes, full of nutrients. These worms have assisted in all this breakdown, and have just done a fantastic job. And just pull a few out really, and tip it in this big tray. I think I'm going to get a good 45 litres out of this harvest here. And that'll go well in the garden. All the egg carton that I put in there, I haven't actually come across any of it, so it's all broken down. They've eaten that. I think this bed's probably only been going for about probably a couple of months, 2-3 months now. So there's some little tiny pot worms. Not too bad. I'm not concerned about that many, but I have got a video that I had out if you have pot worms in your worm farm. I'll leave a little link up the top, a card up the top or at the end screen there. It'll be worthwhile seeing what it's like if your bin is way too wet and how they just thrive in it. Go and check that one out if you like as well after you watch this one. So some of this compost castings here is actually still quite damp. There is a lot of worms in it. It's not going to go through the sifter, this green sifter here. But what I'm going to do is make some worm tea, and I'm just going to put handfuls of this in here and dilute it in some rainwater, and all the worms will then just get sort of left behind in here. So I find that's a lot easier way if your castings are too damp. And that's just an easy way. You can still get worm tea out of it, but also save all your worms. So it looks like there's plenty of worms in here. You can see that nice, dark, rich worm tea there, which I will go and put around on the garden. I've had a lot of oats, I think, come up in that straw that I put out. Yeah, I guess it's always hit and miss when you get some straw or hay or some sort. It'll always have some sort of seeds in it, but nevertheless, it's a good mulch. Keep the moisture in. Happy, healthy plants. Makes us gardeners happy as well. Certainly makes me happy. So I'm just letting the last of this sitting out in the sun, and I'll go through that in a moment. And then over there in that white tub, there's all the worms in there, so we'll tip that one out shortly. And all the worms would have huddled right down the bottom there, so have a bit of a worm ball. So it'll be interesting to see. Alrighty, so I'm going to tip out this bucket and we'll see how many worms are at the bottom of it. Be like a worm sandcastle. There's plenty of worms in there. It's nice big handfuls of them. Try to get that in the shade a bit more. It's pretty good. So we still have plenty of worms in here as well. That was all from the sifting, so I'll just put them all down the bottom here, and I'll have to go and get some more mushroom compost. So yeah, to help with the bedding for them, so they'll be fine in there tonight. And yeah, I'll reset this bed tomorrow. So ideally I just want to leave this sit for a bit and let all the powdery stuff just settle down in there before I take off the lid, because I don't want to be inhaling it. So we've got some really nice eggshell grit in here, just nicely crushed down. We'll use that in the worm farms. Well, it's the next day and I've gone out to get some more mushroom compost, so I'm going to reset the hungry bin and tick off a few more of the jobs that I've already done, and I've only got a couple of jobs left to do, and that's my weekend out in the garden. So all the worms are right down the very bottom, so I'm just going to add, I've got 2 bags of mushroom compost, so I'm just going to add both bags, give it a nice little wet up for them. I'll leave the food down the bottom there, they'll eat that. It's a bit hard doing this with one hand on the camera. I'm trying to hold a great big 25-litre bag. And what I also have here is my micro cut shredded cardboard. Just as another little extra bedding for them. And I'll mix that all through. I do have some more egg cartons in there, but I won't add those ones just yet. I'll give this a nice big stir up. And wet this down so it's nice and damp in here for them. So I'll just give it a good wet up with some rainwater to really soak that in there. Just incorporate everything in together, so I'll just give it a bit of a twirl around. Got a bag of frozen vegetable scraps here, which will also help add some more liquid to the bin. So I'm just going to pop that there. The worms can make their way up there whenever they want to. Cover that over. I'll just leave the lid open for it now, and then I'll close it back up tonight. All reset, redone, and new bedding, so I'm sure they will love that. Okay, what we're going to do next on the list is get some of that straw. I'm just going to put that around the big raised birdie's garden bed there. There's quite a bit of straw I've got here, so I might as well use it up. I can just try and get a nice bird's eye view of it. It's doing really well. So this bed's all done as well. This one's pretty good because it's mostly made up of bales of pea hay anyway, so it would hold the moisture a lot better. So this Roma tomato bush is really thick and it's got heaps of little branches and that on there, which I don't really think it needs that much on there, so I'm just going to trim some back, and just to help with a bit of airflow through it as well. Try not to cut off any with the flowers on them, but anything else I'm just going to trim back. I'm no expert at this, but I do watch people on YouTube trimming them back, just to cut them back a bit. Oh, I've taken quite a few branches and that off there. Get to see a lot more tomatoes in there. See, getting quite a number on here, which will be good. And this is my very first frangipani, and just come through winter. I didn't have any growth on the top here, but it's got new leaves on it. It's the beefsteak tomato one. So I'm going to chop some of these bigger ones off here. That's got flowers, I won't cut that one off. I won't be too harsh on it. Hopefully it might create a bit more growth into the rest of the fruit if there's not so many just little branches that are not going to actually produce any fruit on it. Oh, this one definitely needs a trimmer. It's just getting a little bit wild, so give this one a good cut back. This is only a cherry tomato one. This self-seeded in the garden. Oh well, thanks for spending your time with me this weekend, getting a few of my jobs done. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and to all my regular subscribers and new viewers, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye for now.